I don't know about you, but I'd be curious to know how many hours of guitar instructional videos I've seen without my guitar in my hands. And I'm not sure why, but it feels productive. It feels like I'm becoming aware of something new, so I'm improving. But obviously I'm not. And as an example, just a few months ago, I came across a YouTube channel called Things I've Learned from Barry Harris, which is great, by the way. I wasn't aware of this method of learning and playing jazz, but it seemed to resonate with me, so I got excited and dutifully started on episode 1. And I learned the concepts and melodic lines, and instead of stopping to practice, really imbibe what I've learned, I just plowed through to the next episode, and then the next, and then the next. Did I have my guitar in my hands? Yes, I did. But I was still simply just watching instructional videos without really learning anything. Even though I know better. So steady improvement isn't important to everyone. Some people are happy with the level they play at, and that's great. But if you're like me, though, you are mostly happy with the level that you play at, but you always have the yearning for improvement, even if you don't act like it all the time. And the good news is I found a way to kind of avoid this problem. So I've been practicing guitar a little differently lately. I've been using what I call a project-based guitar practice, and I'll link to a video describing what it is. But essentially, I create concrete, tangible projects, like a video or audio recording, out of what I'd like to learn. And the most important part of dealing in projects is knowing which ones to tackle. That's what I've kind of discovered. And since this approach to practice is about consistent, reliable, and low friction improvement, the type of project you work on is really one of the most important factors. So I can't stress this enough. This is a highly specific process, and the right projects are key to make it kind of work. And just to be clear, the projects in this approach aren't supposed to encompass your entire guitar playing experience. It's not the same as playing what you already know for enjoyment, or jamming with friends, or noodling around, or any of that other fun stuff that we do with our guitars. It's about staying motivated to build and maintain new knowledge and skills. It's about specific projects that allow you to produce specific outcomes for consistent incremental improvement. So as you live your life, you constantly come across lots of stuff to learn, like YouTube videos or blog posts or tabs or whatever. And you want to be a little discerning with this process, because not just anything goes through this process. Since it incorporates a lot of review, the projects you complete will become part of your musical DNA, more than what you work on passively. So the question becomes, how can you slash out the noise to leave the highest impact resource? And here are 2 ways to guide the collection process, to collect ideas for projects that you want to do. First one. There's a lot of research that shows that you improve best when you work on techniques, concepts, or repertoire that is just on the cusp of your current ability level, kind of the Goldilocks zone. And I'll link an article to Deliberate Practice, which is what that's kind of about. And it's a bit of a balance to find something challenging but not too challenging. Once you find these types of resources and repertoire, though, the system that I practice with helps keep you motivated with a lot of small wins, but it also keeps you just out of your comfort zone and just on the edge of your seat, enough to improve. And then the second thing to guide the collection process. Sometimes you come across a lesson or an article or a how-to that seems like it'd be really fun or interesting to learn. But again, you need to be discerning. And you only choose the most fun and interesting things because you spend a lot of time with it. So when you come across something you're thinking about learning, you ask yourself, what do I want to do with this information? Do I really want this to be part of my musical DNA? So those 2 things to guide the process. What's just on the cusp of your ability and what is the most fun and interesting? If you can find something with those 2 components, then you're on the right track. So here's some other ideas to help you narrow down the possibilities. So what kinds of things should become projects? Okay, so things you find challenging. If it's challenging right now from day one and you can't do it physically, or if you don't know the concepts or theory or any of that, then that would be something that would be good. Things you want to have in your musical vocabulary. If you really like someone's playing style, then that would be a good thing to include in this process, because you can try to take in a little bit of their playing style. Things that need a lot of practice. So not something that you can get within just a couple repetitions and then move on with your life. Things that are going to take some time. Things that you feel are just beyond your current abilities. So for me, maybe it would be something like, playing faster. I don't play exceptionally fast or anything, but, like doing scales like that up to a certain BPM or something, like I can really focus on getting the BPM up just outside my current ability all the time. But still with an eye toward making a project. And things that you want to be able to do but can't. There's lots of stuff like that. I'd love to be able to do like full improvised, solo guitar, like jazz type stuff, like a Joe Pass kind of thing. I would love to be able to do that, but I currently can't. So that would be a great thing to fit into this approach. And just to contrast it, it's helpful, I think, to have an idea of like what kind of things should not be in this process. So techniques or repertoire you can learn easily. I'm not going to be on the cusp of my abilities if I learn Knocking on Heaven's Door, for example. So if I want to learn that song, I can just learn that in a more kind of relaxed, easy setting, because it is a little bit easier for my current ability. Another thing is things you don't need new knowledge or skills for. So that's either technical skill or like conceptual stuff. Like, again, I don't need to review the theory of Knocking on Heaven's Door. I pretty much already know that, so that shouldn't be part of this process. And something you can pick up again within one pass. So maybe I learned something a while ago and I haven't played it in a while, but I'm pretty confident that if I just play along with it once, I'll be able to do it again in one pass. Again, I'm not being pushed on the edge of my seat. I'm not on the cusp of my abilities. And lastly, things where it's not that important to you musically. That shouldn't be part of this. This is about what, again, the intersection of what is on the cusp of your ability, what is the most fun and interesting. So the more precise you can be with this step of the whole process, collecting the ideas and deciding what to do for projects, the more effective the entire process will be. And I'll continue doing more videos on project-based guitar practice. So if you're interested, you can subscribe here. And if you want some help with your guitar practice, I'll also link my newsletter, which is probably the best way to get in touch if you want to reach out. And that's it for now.